It's our new intro music.
7.
Right in.
I am.
Here we go. You are listening to the Furlo Tech Podcast, episode 296. Six.
Welcome to Season 7, Episode 296 of the Furlo Bros Tech Podcast. Today is May the 28th, 2017. I'm Matthew Dean Furlo, and barely remembering that it's Memorial Days tomorrow, I was going to go with the opening of, and connecting with me at a snail's pace is my brother James Furlo.
I'm trying to bite on this one. So yeah, Memorial Day. Doing anything fun to celebrate?
Yeah. One way or another, we're going to get to my internet. I'm moving this weekend. It's been a mess. I'm so tired of moving. Oh my gosh. I made a couple of miscalculations in my strategy. 2 to be particular. 1, my current roommate, or my previous roommate, slash landlord slash cousin, after I moved out, or after, told her I was going to move out and whatever, she was like, oh yeah, take your time, whatever you need to do. She's just taking over the room. I'm moving out. There's nobody else coming in. So it really felt like I could take my time. So
yeah. You mean like she's taking it over as in like, not like, I thought you were saying like you're moving out and she's taking over the room. Like you're taking stuff out, she's taking stuff in.
No.
Yeah.
Worse than that. It's nobody's like there's
nobody. She's gonna be an empty storage room, office, whatever.
Yeah. So there's not this like hard deadline, like, oh, we need rent coming in soon. So she said take your time, and she meant it. Take your time. If you need a couple of weeks, don't worry about it. Well, I stupidly decided to take my time. And so I've been doing it like 1 or 2 boxes at a time. Which the first like 3 or 4 nights of that was great, because it'd be like I'd pack for like a half hour, 45 minutes, and be like, I'm tired. Like there's stuff in my car. I'm out. And wasn't that big of a deal.
You kind of reached this tipping point though, where you're living in 2 places.
I finally crossed the tipping point fully, where I'm now like living here.
Yeah.
And now I have to go and just pick up stupid stuff, like some of it important, some of it just garbage. I still have to clean. It's been dragging me down, James. I'm tired of it. But the other thing that I did, and this was just, I had a door, my door to my room, and I painted it.
Yeah.
And you've seen the door. It's it's got a quote on it, not that big of a deal. And our cousin said, yeah, no problem. You can paint it. Just you got to restore it back to its original state when you're done. So paint it. Yeah, exactly. Not a big deal. Okay, cool. And I looked at it and was like, well, it's a standard door, so I can just replace it. I don't have to paint it. And
such thing as a standard door.
Yes, yeah. I know. I'm well aware of that at this point in the day, James. And so I had to. So one of the things that I did is, because of how I painted it, there are areas that are very thick with paint. So if you just painted it white, you'd see the lettering through it still. And
like an emboss almost.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'd have to sand it down. Well, the problem is that it's a 6-panel door, and part of the so there's a bunch of nooks and crannies that you have to get into, and I just didn't want to sand it all. So I was like, like a new standard door. Again, I use that phrase. Costs like $35 from Home Depot. I'll just go and get one. And put it in. Yeah, man. It actually was way easier than it probably should have been. It was 2 cuts to get it to the right size. Our dad helped me out, so it was, pretty straightforward. Came up with some clever solutions, make sure we did it right, got it right the first try. But the real annoying part is that you have to put the hangers in the right place, the hinges, and then you have to hand chisel them out. And
yes.
It's been a long time since I've chiseled. Thankfully, I used to be really good at it, so it only took me about 15 minutes to kind of get the feel back, which was quick enough where I didn't ruin the door in the process. So
you want to know what works really well now that you've done it?
Yeah, I do want to know what works really well.
A Dremel tool.
Yeah.
I use that in place of a chisel now all the time.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Because it's not that high powered enough, and the tools or tips are just small enough that it takes off just a little bit of wood at a time, which is what you want when you're chiseling.
Yeah. When the second one I did pretty quickly. The second one only took, with it,
2 hinges. Oh my gosh,
see,
what are you complaining about?
I know.
Were they rounded or squared?
Oh, it's a round hinge in a square hole.
Okay.
Look,
the metal part that fits up against the wood. Is it rounded corners or square corners?
Yes.
Wait.
It's a rounded corner.
Okay. All right.
And a square hole.
What?
Yeah, it's just I didn't do it. I didn't take the time to do it right.
Oh, you made a square hole, but the corners are rounded.
Yes.
I understand.
Yeah.
I was asking what the metal was.
Oh, yeah, rounded.
Well, you could always, whatever. Dude, with some paint, no one will know.
I know. That's kind of where I was at. I was like, I don't care.
It's a rental.
Exactly. Well, and not to mention the fact that this door is considerably nicer than the door I'm taking with my paint on it. Yeah. The reverse side of the door is messed up. It was one of those ones where you sort of
becomes a 3-hour project that you weren't planning on.
This is the thought. I said, well, this is it's a door I painted. It's kind of cool. It's cool enough to keep. And so what I'll do is I'll keep the door, and I need a workbench in the garage. So I'll turn it in. I'll use it as a tabletop for a workbench.
Yeah.
I'll just put a piece of plastic over top of it, put some legs on it. I'll have a workbench. Then I'll go get a standard door. I'll just throw the standard door into this standard door hole, and everything will be good. And now I'm thinking about the fact that, I've built tables. I know how much harder it is than to say, oh, I'll just throw some legs on it and a piece of plastic. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of moving, James. I'm so ready to be done.
Now just go out, buy a couple wooden sawhorses, and then screw the table down to the sawhorses.
Yeah. I think that's
instead of doing plastic, just get some polyurethane and just real quickly just paint it and let it go.
Yeah, but it's ridged. It's a 6-panel. So it's not a flat table. I need a flat table.
I repeat my question. So
I don't understand. What are you suggesting I do?
The ridges make it interesting.
It's not how it works, James.
It is at my place.
You know what I could do though? I could get just a clear 2-part epoxy, and that would be just fill it in. That would be really easy to do.
Yeah.
That actually would be really straightforward to do. I might do that. Whatever, James. That's not what we're here to talk about, okay?
We're here to talk about your internet.
Yes, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. I sent you a picture. Do you want to tell our audience what that picture showed you?
Yeah, so you did a little download test thing, because obviously you've moved.
Yes.
I got to find you here. You did a little download test. And at first, when you sent me the link, it's got a huge ad on it. And I'm like, why do I care about refinancing my mortgage at 15-year fixed loan? But that's not what you were trying to tell me. You were trying to show me that you were able to do a ping in 3 milliseconds.
Yes, it was a very quick ping.
Yeah. And so your downloads right now is 323 megabits per second.
Holy cow.
And your upload is 188.
And importantly, that was over Wi-Fi.
If we have trouble, it's me.
Yes. That was over Wi-Fi, James. That is a no joke speed.
That's serious right there.
I wanna bring the Ethernet into the garage somehow.
You could do that.
Yeah,
Cables,
yeah. It might require
drilling.
something, yeah. But if I can, because it's like straight up when you plug it into it, it's fiber, so it clocks pretty close to a gigabit of download.
That's a big loss then over Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's huge. Actually, it was crazy.
Again, you're still like 10 times mine, but
well, honestly, the worst part about it is the fact that this is a pretty old apartment, so all the walls are painted with lead paint, which evidently affects Wi-Fi. And the further you get away from it, the worse the signal gets.
Which it doesn't look like you're in your bedroom right now.
I'm not. I'm in the garage.
Okay.
I got the small bedroom.
/
It's so small.
Workplace.
Yeah, it's so small that I got a bed in there, and that's it. It's a sleeping room.
Whoa. So that's your living room, essentially.
We have a living room, but like a communal one.
I'm just saying for you, like
Yes.
you kind of combine the two.
Yes.
You had a like an ensuite in your old place.
Oh yeah.
And now you don't have that. You have it separated off.
Yeah.
Like a living, you have like what is it? You have a family room and then you have a living room. Like that's your living room.
Exactly. And
is it heated? Does that matter where you live?
Nope. No to both. It's not climate controlled. It is connected, so I can open up the door to the rest of the house, and it will.
That's nice.
But it's not insulated, so we don't want to do that too much. I figure. So this is the thing. During the summer, I could just open the door and get a nice breeze, and it'll feel good. During the winter, when it's cold out, I'm just gonna get like one of those small like heater fans that you have off of Amazon.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Speaking of which, we decided that it would be worth the investment to buy a better Wi-Fi router so we could get a little bit better connection. We made that decision at 10:15 last night. Okay. I had purchased it via Amazon. This is worth looking up just so I get my.
Oh no, it's my internet. That's what that means. He froze. It's probably because. Oh boy. Let's see. Man, I can't blame him anymore. I have a new modem because my current one has been acting up. It's really kind of lame, actually. And it's just like, it's weird. Like it'll be working fine. And then all of a sudden, oh, his computer crashed. It's not me. Amazing. Yeah, though my speeds are like crazy bad. They're like 13 megabytes. What am I paying for? I don't even get it. Anyways, so my modem, I got a new one, and it's just like I'll be going in the middle of the day and randomly, and I have to restart it. And so I got a new one. Amazon's pretty good about that, which if you're listening to this, you know that. But anyways, he'll be back shortly.
Well, that was not good.
You back?
I am back. My computer just completely crashed.
Okay, so you were saying that you ordered something on Amazon at 10:15 last night?
Yeah, 10:15 p.m. I ordered a router, a rather fast router. And this morning at 8 a.m., I got a knock on the door. It was UPS delivering it.
Dang. So, which is pretty crazy. What router are you getting? Maybe I should ask this offline because I'm interested.
No. We got it's. I'll tell the intro. Yeah, it's a TCP.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Oh geez, come on. Let me look it up. Give me 1 second.
Hold on, it's downloading. He's waiting for the webpage to load.
Actually, I'm waiting for Amazon. Don't do that. Waiting for the app to open.
Yeah, it's got to connect. Download
Geez.
its information.
Come on. You got to click through so many times. Just take me to the stupid page, Amazon. It's the TP link AC1200 gigabit wireless Wi-Fi router. It's got 3 antennas, which makes it look cool. I don't know if it actually does anything. And yeah,
so you guys got it just because it's fast or has good coverage, or
it was recommended. It was recommended to me as a good one for houses with bad connection, and it's very fast. It had really good reviews on Amazon, so I felt like that was a worth.
How much is one of those bad boys?
$60. That's the other piece. It's not break the bank expensive. Okay. Seems to be working pretty good so far.
As I talked about, I want a mesh router in the worst of ways, so I can have connectivity in all of my garage. The downside of having a larger garage.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do the same thing, honestly.
Or like you said, you get your cable in there, get your Cat 5 running in there, and then put your own little personal one in there.
Yeah,
extend it out. Like Matthew's private Wi-Fi, no touch.
No touchy. Yeah, see, that's
cool, man.
Like I know how to do everything with this stuff, so I could start doing that. Like just prioritize my my activities and deprioritize.
You can do one of those hidden ones, where you gotta know the code.
All right, so you can find it
in a pre-list.
Yeah,
one of those. You could be that guy.
Oh yeah, I think that could be. It should be.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Pretty good. Oh man.
All right, let's quit stalling.
Okay, yeah. Jeez Louise, it's been long enough, man. We're not here to talk about my super fast internet, although I probably could for a while. This week, like every week, we'll be talking about technology and continuing corporate opera. And by that, we mean the soap opera of corporations dealing back and forth, the people working for them, their marketing campaigns, and of course, the technology they're developing. But before we get into the heart of the show, Jude's got a short disclosure he wants to throw our way.
It's I get to modify it a little bit. So I still founded and work for HPI. However, I do not represent HPI or any of HP's opinions. I also still own part of Twitter, Etsy, and Lending Club. But I guess I normally don't disclose because it doesn't matter that I happen to own a property management / investment company. But as of Friday, I have a new one I get to disclose because I can't help but make companies. So yeah, I now am the founder of a software analytics company as
Congratulations.
well. So I have an opinion
Mr.
on all that
Founder.
too. I am a patent pending holder too, so that's cool.
Ooh.
Because I know how to make algorithms. So yeah, so I had a big week last week, I guess. Officially started a company and filed for a patent, and we're gonna start analyzing property. Shocker.
Nice. Congratulations.
It's like combining my two loves, analytics and numbers with property. So that's my disclosure. So when you hear me make fun of other property management company software things, you'll know why now.
All right. So I got to stand up for the little guys, the guys you're going to be trying to take down a notch from here on out. That's the.
That's right. I am a little guy. It's just me and one other person right now, and a website.
So it's like a TV show or like something like that.
Me, him, and a website?
Yeah, exactly. Like, coming to HBO. No, that's like, you know what that is? That's the TBS knockoff of
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, yeah.
There would be no swearing in my version.
Exactly.
I was at this gym the other day with my co-founder, by the way. We were working out, doing some CrossFit, and they were playing some music, and they had this one song come on where, it was like dropping F-bombs and swear words left and right. And I was like, wow, really? Huh. I would have done a little PG music list since you don't know who your customers are, but at least I guess okay.
It's a bold strategy.
It was distracting. Yes, to be honest. I was shocked by it. But at the same time, you're like, it's not a PC environment. I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I can do without the swearing.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's my disclosure. Mostly
Nice.
HP, that's the important part, which I just finished my annual Standards of Business Conduct, the joys of a very large corporation. You get to take that every year. That reiterated that I need to continue to disclose that I work for HP.
Nice.
So I do. Eventually, I have to tell my boss, too, that I started a new company, which in retrospect, maybe should have done that beforehand, but, whatever.
Nah, you're fine.
I don't think they'll mind. The rules are I can't do something that would be a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
That's so in other words, not related to, I think this will hold up, not related to PC or printers stuff. Like the example they gave was I couldn't start up a ink refill business. That's fair. That's fair.
But you could make so much money on it.
Yeah. That was funny. Actually, like they do these scenarios to kind of give an example. And the lady was talking about, yeah, I'm going to start up this refill business because I could do this. And like was given a business plan. I'm like, wow, this is not like a bad idea. What are they trying to do here? It was pretty funny. Like they thought about this too much.
Well, it's probably one of those. It happened once.
I am more than certain that that's true. Yes. Oh, I'm very certain because we know when all the price increases and stuff is happening. So if you know all that and can buy ahead of time and take advantage of that time period and get it on eBay and get it cheaper, yeah, that's a big deal. That's insider or something that feels illegal. So I don't know why. Something about that doesn't feel right.
What if you didn't do it? You just told somebody else about it, and they did it.
Well, what's the fun in that?
Well, kickbacks, man.
Kickbacks.
That's the fun in that.
Gotcha. Did I? Yeah. Kickbacks. Again.
You're not supposed to say it out loud. That's the important part.
Something doesn't seem right about that. But, I don't know.
Funny.
We'll just call ourselves what? Uber for Ink.
Uber for Ink. If you're gonna pick a fight legally, you might as well pick a big fight. Just bring in as what the nice part about picking a legal battle with like 4 or 5 different giant companies is you're definitely gonna get in the news. They will remember your name. You won't survive, but they'll know your name. If you want to follow us throughout the week, you can do that. My Twitter's at Matthew D. Furlo. My Instagram is NextWiggin4.
I am James Furlo on Twitter, where I spend most of my time. .com, which I have amazing thought pieces that I don't update regularly. On LinkedIn, apparently, something happened where they must have changed how they do their notifications or whatever, because all of a sudden I'm getting LinkedIn invites. Could be the time of year, I suppose. I don't know. Do you get that where like you'll go like 4 or 5 months, what's LinkedIn? And then all of a sudden you're getting like 2-3 invites a week. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've also noticed like with Facebook, like that's how do I want to describe it? Like I literally now I don't get Facebook invites unless I've met somebody. And I'm still a little weird on the protocol of like, so I just met you. Should I Facebook friend you? And then there comes a point in time where it's like, we've been friends, but I didn't do it right away. And now you're like, oh, would this be awkward for me to be like, oh my gosh, we're not friends on Facebook? I don't know. I overthink it, obviously. Like for example, I met this guy. He actually, he was a candidate for a job that I'm interviewing for. Yeah. And we interviewed and we like him. And we actually recently extended him an offer for the job. But it was like, even before the offer, he sent me a Facebook friend request. And I'm kind of like, I barely know you. And quite honestly, this may not work out. What do I do? So I've been sitting on it. And now that we've extended the offer, if he reciprocates and says, yeah, I'm in, and, and everything signs and it all works out, I'll probably, friend him up. But yeah, I don't know. I just like, I struggle with these things.
That's funny.
Again, it's like, you don't just get someone new joined Facebook. Like I get that with Instagram still, where someone's like, oh, what's her face joined Instagram, and we know that you're friend because of this and that. Do you want to follow? You know what I mean? Like I get that, and that's where you're like, okay, that's good to go. But that's not the case anymore with Facebook.
Yeah. That's funny because I'm the opposite. I am not friends with my coworkers.
Oh.
Like I go out of my way to not be friends with them.
Not all my coworkers, but some.
Yeah, I'm not friends with my boss. I became friends with one of my coworkers about a week after he quit.
Dude, that's pretty common too, where I'll see like people, they'll leave and then I'll be like, hook me up on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I'll usually, actually, that's how I know that's interesting. That's how I know that someone's getting ready to leave. Actually, is usually I'll get a LinkedIn invite from them or a Facebook invite.
That's really funny.
And then it's like a little while later, we'll get a such and such is leaving the company. Like, huh, interesting. It's like I got one from a coworker recently, and I went, all right, short timer.
Yeah, good to know.
Yeah.
Don't ask
them about data, right?
Yeah, don't ask them to spearhead any giant projects.
Yeah. Anyways, you can friend me there. It's cool.
That's really funny. That's really funny.
It's just weird thing that like our parents never had to deal with.
Yeah.
And my kids probably won't deal with either, because like that they'll just live that life.
Right.
Like, to them, they'll be like, oh, I just met you, I'll friend you up. That's cool. Whatever. Right. That's what we do.
Right.
I have 5,000 friends. That's life. I met you once. And I let the Facebook algorithm figure out who's important to me.
Yeah. See, that's exactly. There won't be anybody that you have a passing relationship with that you're not friends with on Facebook because.
Knowing that now, I should just go through and just start friending up everybody now that I'm thinking about it.
I tend to be that way. I tend to be, with the exception of my coworkers, I tend to be just whoever, whatever. I mean,
how do I do this?
If I don't really know somebody and I get if I get a random request, like I don't even know who this person is, but they don't look super sketchy, I'll say yes. I'll be friends. I don't care.
I'm that way with LinkedIn, but Facebook, I'm like, dude, I should probably know who you are.
I just go by the seat of my pants, James.
That's allowed. Yeah, this life is so weird. The internet changes everything. All right, I'm gonna be more. I go in mood swings. There are times when I'm like, I don't want to friend anybody. Other times where I'm like, friend. Yeah. I'm in the right mood now. It's kind of like momentum,
Exactly. Man, oh man, let's do this though. Let's talk about something real, man.
All right. Yeah. It's welcome to Memorial Day weekend.
I know.
Anyways, so Microsoft. I almost took us off track again.
I know.
Microsoft. Remind me later. Talk about Wonder Woman at the end of the show. Okay. Microsoft had they released the new Surface Pro this week, and I want it. That's good for them, right?
Yes. Why do you want it?
It just looks awesome. I mean, I know that. So we've talked about this before, where they have their Surface Book, which I don't like that you press the back of it and it wiggles.
Yes.
Whereas the Surface Pro is the one that has the kickstand and kind of the cover that comes off of it. It's technically like their lower end one, I think, but I don't care. It looks better. It's cooler. The keyboard detaches. It becomes a tablet. And I think they realized that. So then anyways, they're calling it the Surface Pro. It was supposed to be the Surface Pro 5, but they've done what we have said Apple should have done years ago, which is drop the numbers. So
I know.
Good job, Microsoft. You are smarter than Apple when it comes to naming. Who would have thought? Wow. I cannot wait for WWDC where I can start liking Apple again. But
hopefully.
Yeah, dude, I will. I like all Superman movies, so I'm kind of like I'm that guy. No matter what, I know I'm gonna like it. Hey, you can even go, I don't know, the last one wasn't that great, but like I still like it watching it. I don't know what to tell you.
Fair enough.
No, but I'll turn it on and watch it. So whatever. There are so it's one of those classic. They're like, it looks a lot like the Surface Pro 4, but there are over 800 changes under the hood, hardware changes. So like, trust me, it's totally different. So like, for example, one of the things is they were able to increase the battery life 50%. So now it works for like 13 and a half hours. In other words, full work day. Don't worry about it, which is cool. They have the cover. They're doing like that new fabric cover thing. They're like, they're rolling that everywhere, which I think looks awesome. You say it's hard to clean. I believe you.
Yeah. Well, my suspicion is that it's hard to clean, and their response to the question of is it hard to clean was, well, it's like any luxury cloth. You got to clean it.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. You can get all sorts of stuff. It's a fanless design if you get a Core M3 or Core i5. If you go with the i7, you have to have a fan.
Well, then I'm gonna have to have a fan. Sounds like.
Wah, wah. They're using the latest processors. What was it? The Kaby Lake? Kaby Lake?
Kaby Lake. Yeah, it's close enough.
How do you pronounce it?
Krabby Lake.
There's no R.
What?
There's no R. Kaby. Or did they misspell it? That'd be awesome if they just misspelled it.
Maybe it is Kaby Lake, and I've just been.
You've just been that guy.
Yeah.
For a while, which is cool. There you go.
Hey, look at that. It is Kaby Lake.
Like hey Cabby, Hail Cabby, that kind of Kaby Lake, or is it Kaby Lake?
It doesn't say.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm gonna stick with Krabby Lake.
All right, that works. That's funny. Okay, let's there's still like I know. They increased the touch sensitivity, and they also have a new pen that you can spend $100 on. That lets you do the whole like rotate it, and you get a little more. Like it feels like you're writing with a real pen, just like on an iPad, which is cool. You can get those cover thingies at $129. The pen's $100. The computer all by itself is $800. So it's reasonably priced. I seriously, I work for HP. I think I would buy this computer. and it's not because I think HPs are bad. I just like, I don't know, something about it. It's just cool. I like it.
It's one of those things where
you can use the dial thing, which I still do not understand. I get like, I watch the demos. I'm like, what?
Have you used one?
Well, yeah, I mean, in the store, I played around with it, which I don't know if that counts as using it.
What don't you understand about it then? It doesn't really stick where it's supposed to stick. It doesn't really increase functionality. It's not
just this big bulky object you have to keep track of and
exactly
on. I don't know why. I don't get it. I just don't.
I agree.
But it's like every time like you can use it and you put it on the screen of this Surface Pro, and it takes up 1/8 of the screen. You're just like, you can't see what you're doing anymore.
Honestly, I feel like I don't know, man. I feel like it's
like a mouse, but it's a bad mouse.
It's not a bad idea. It feels like there's something there. It definitely feels like the first step along the evolution to some better idea. I mean, because we've talked about this before, that it's like, that's a big next step is turn everything into a digital implement, or, rethink what, for decades, we've had mouse and trackpads of various type. Now we're finally getting styluses that can keep up, but there's no reason to stop at styluses. You can really innovate on that. Why not paintbrushes? Why not?
I mean, I appreciate
knobs?
the idea from a labs experiment type of thing. Let's make this thing, let's sell it. And there's probably some really interesting use cases, like in terms of, they always bring up some sort of art app stuff, like you can select colors and whatever. Like, but why do you keep putting this thing in your promo video? Which maybe it's just remind you that we have it and it's all interchangeable.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I just don't get it. I agree though. There's got to be some interesting, like, I don't know. Anyways, it's cool. So I think they already announced it. Now it's like it's for sale. You can get it. There's pricing. The pen clips to it. Still, they got rid of the little the clip on the pen. Now but it still magnetically connects to the dock or the display. Which I like that. There's a lot of things I really like about it. It runs Windows 10, obviously. Yeah, seriously, if I was to get a Windows laptop, this would be it. Which someday, since I have a new company, I will probably quit HP, and we'll still need a Windows / want a Windows PC. And I'm not going to do the whole like dual boot thing. I mean, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And so I'll probably end up getting one of these or something like it. It's awesome. I don't know. If you're in the market, I'd recommend it.
I like it, man. Yeah.
The other thing that they also announced was collaborative ink whiteboard app that will work. So to go with the new pen, they have a new whiteboard app, and it's very much like it's collaborative. So that sense of you see a white canvas, I see a white canvas, I start drawing, you see me start to draw, you can draw over me, that kind of stuff.
Good. I'm gonna draw over you the whole time just to annoy you.
You know, you can play tic-tac-toe. You can play hangman.
Can you play Go?
I guess if you get started, you know, you'd have to draw out your grid and then draw colors.
That's what the little dial is for. You make a straight edge and you just, you know.
Oh yeah,
I figured it out, James.
Dial is for boom. It all makes sense. Yeah. Speaking of playing Go, there was some news this week about that.
Yeah, it's a solved problem officially.
That's what I hear.
It's yeah. So
it stinks to be human, doesn't it?
I know, right? Yeah. Well, and it's a solved problem in the same way that checkers and chess is a solved problem. At this point, those are two games that no human can beat a good computer. And the reason why on those two games is they can brute force the answer. They can calculate a bunch of different scenarios. With checkers, you can just brute force check every conceivable answer and come up with an unbeatable game plan based on what the other players can do. And chess, computationally, that's a lot more difficult. So there's all sorts of cheat, like there are certain shortcuts that you can do in the programming just based on how chess is played and the symmetry of the board. There are things that you can do that allow you to dramatically cut down the number of things that you have to check, but it's effectively you check every possible realistic solution. With AlphaGo or with Go, and we've talked about this a while ago when we talked about it, but it's worth recapping. The problem with Go is that that's impossible. There are so many permutations that if you had a computer the size of the universe, it would take the lifespan of the universe to calculate every permutation. It's just
that's a lot.
Yeah, it's impossibly difficult to just brute force the calculation. So it requires a much more sophisticated pattern finding system. You either have to write a strategy. We basically have to write a strategy that can't calculate the future and pick the best possible course. And humans can't do that. They do it very intuitively. And
dude, we're so intuitive.
I know. So AlphaGo was designed around finding those. It was a neural network using machine learning to find those patterns, to develop its own intuition and a predictive intuition. And it's quite sophisticated in what it does, but it's a huge change to have something that can beat a player at Go, because it's a very non-traditional way of solving this sort of a problem. And what it really shows us, we're beating around the bush. Basically, AlphaGo beat the best player on Earth.
Best of the best?
This dude is, yeah. So back last time we talked about it, it was like the number 3 player or like a previous championship. The guy was really, really good, but he wasn't, quote, the best. This guy that AlphaGo beat is considered the best.
Who, by the way, when AlphaGo beat the number 3 guy.
Yeah.
This guy, the number 1 guy, was like, I can beat him. What's the big deal?
Yeah. Well, and
Trash talk. I appreciate that about the Chinese man.
Exactly. Well, and what's really interesting about it is that it seems that that's true too. That if he were to play the AlphaGo that played months ago, he might have been able to beat it. But they kept training AlphaGo to get better and better and better.
Well, and the interesting part was the way they trained it was they stopped playing human players, then it started playing itself.
Right, yeah.
Which was part of the incredible part, and I'll let you continue now.
Yeah, no. So the big deal here is that there's this question that everybody asks with computers, and because what this is all driving towards is self-driving cars. There is a problem of that we deal with on a regular basis of how do you make sure the computer never crashes, and that is a difficult question to answer with a program, just a run-of-the-mill program that's written using traditional computer science methods, where you write a very predictable algorithm that where you can understand the data structures, and the data might be unique case to case, but how the data is processed, the logic of the processing, the data structures are all very well understood. Whereas with these machine learning algorithms, they're hyper complex. So even though a programmer understands the principles that generates these neural networks, the actual patterns that the computer finds that it's using to process can be so esoteric that the programmers can't understand how it works. So how do you, so then you set this thing to, okay, you're gonna identify things on the road. I need you to identify people. I need you to identify speed signs. I need you to identify everything. And we are going to rely on neural networks to do that because they're the only thing that can handle that sort of a problem. But how do we answer the question of it'll identify every person? It'll identify every speed sign and stop sign. And that's what we're trying to prove here is we take a problem that we can show mathematically this can't be possibly solved any other way, and yet we can make something that's unbeatable, that's quote unquote perfect. And so that's why this is actually an important feat, is because it's proving that this method of developing artificial intelligences can be used in high critical areas of use, that it will always be right. So it's a big deal that not only did it win, but it won 3 for 3 matches. And then they had it. They also had it play. You can play Go as Team Go, where generally speaking, it's 2 players on each. Yeah, it's 2 players on each side, and you take turns taking your turn. So
gotcha.
Player 1 goes, player 3 goes, player 2 goes, player 4 goes, player 3 and 4 are all on the same team. Well, AlphaGo played 5 different Go masters at the same time. And the idea there was with 5 different Go masters, they'll be incredibly unpredictable. So instead of finding the pattern of the person you're playing against and beating that one person, you have to deal with some real randomness in the game. And it cleaned their clock. So they, pretty big deal. Just in improving the viability of neural networks and just for the future. This is a big accomplishment, and it's proving, and I think importantly what it's saying is even if it's not perfect, it's better than humans. Mm-hmm. And for certain classes of problems that has to be good enough. And it can be good enough. And so for
medical diagnostics.
Exactly. I
still think the Holy Grail, or not the Holy Grail, I don't think that exists, but I think the optimal solution is a hybrid. It's a combination of the two.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about like the medical device thing, where I still love the idea of like Watson going through and checking against everything. You put it in the symptoms, it shoots back. Here's what I think it is, and then you get to do the human test.
Yeah.
Does this make sense?
Well,
and you're just testing for that 2% of the time.
Yeah.
And like I think AlphaGo would be interesting if, I don't know, it's weird because you get to a point where you'd be like, I don't understand the computer's logic and where it's headed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd actually be any use for it. Like that was the number one player's comment. He's like, it's on a different level than me. It's like, we're not playing the same game, honestly.
Right. Well, and yeah, because one of the big differences is that it's so when you're doing training, what you're trying to do, they call it world states. You're trying to get the computer to move through world states. In AlphaGo's case, its entire world is a chessboard, or is a Go board, I mean. And what it's trying to do is move towards a world state where it wins, and it's trying to find the best place to do that. Well, winning being the optimal thing, since that's what they trained it to do, it actually plays uniquely different in that it will make moves, and it did this in the first round, that are counterproductive to it winning overwhelmingly, but are very productive in guaranteeing a win. And so what it tends to do is it tends to minimize its margins. And in the first game, it actually won by the smallest possible margin, which everybody thought meant that people who were commenting on it thought that meant that AlphaGo barely beat the player. But the head player and the Google engineer, they both came out and were like, nah, it was like 3/4 of the way through, he had cleaned my clock. He had made it impossible for me to win. It just so happened that required a very narrow margin. And the Google engineer was like, oh yeah, 3/4 of the way through the game, we had a 99% guarantee that he was going to win. What? And, and which is fascinating to me because it's crazy. Like, yeah, because like you said, they end up in these places where the programmers can't really understand what it's even doing to some degree. And that's why like nobody has neural networks drive a car completely. Neural networks do particular tasks. They identify the speed on the speed limit sign. And then it's a traditional algorithm that actually controls the car. They get all this neural network feeds in information as input into a traditional algorithm for driving, and that's so that they can deal with basically what the AI will feed the algorithm and say, hey, I see a speed limit sign that says 35 and I have a 95% confidence on this. And then the car can be very sure that, okay, I got to go 35. But if it gets a report back from the AI, hey, I think I saw a sign that says 45 miles per hour and I have a 25% confidence on this, then the algorithm might go, okay, then don't. And the programmer who wrote the algorithm would write in and say, if it's below this threshold, don't go 30, don't go 45, right. Stay at 35. And so there's that if you don't have a person actually involved, like with like a doctor talking to Watson, then at the very least, I think these sort of where you'll have neural networks that don't control the final output, but they control the inputs to a traditional algorithm. That's going to be the most common use case. They will just. It'll be the same thing when we finally get quantum computers up and running. There's certain classes of problems that these dedicated systems will use. And it might even be the thing that we use most because they tend to be, they're called NP problems. They're incalculatable. And there's a whole class of problems that neural networks are very good at guessing the answer to, and a quantum computer could theoretically solve in a single computation. Yeah. Those are
insane when I think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the one that always gets me is when they say training a neural network is actually an NP problem. There's no shortcut that you can take to do it, but it's exactly the sort of optimization problem that a powerful enough quantum computer could solve. Which means theoretically, you could create a quantum computer that could train a neural network to be nearly perfect in a single computation. Which that will, I mean, that's probably a century down the line. That's probably a long time from now. But once you get there, you've really gotten to a new level of cognitive ability for the human race. And it's probably a bad sign for the human race. But yeah, this is big. It's big. It's just, like I said, I think not to get too science fiction-y and not to get too blow it too out of proportion. It just is a big sign of, we can now, there are classes of problems that you can't solve with traditional algorithms, and we can now solve them better than any human can be. So your car is coming for you. It's going to be driving you soon.
Oh, it cannot happen fast enough, in my opinion.
I know. When I hear people
talk, right.
Not the end of humanity. When I hear people talk about how they don't want a self-driving car, they just don't think that it'll work. You have no imagination. And I hear people that I actually really respect their intellect say that sort of stuff, and I'm just like, you have no imagination.
I just
you do not understand.
They just haven't thought about it, or they don't know what's happening. They're still Windows 95 world, it crashes. You're like, dude, no, that's not, no. Yeah. Or they don't get that Google search is an amazing computer. You know what I mean? It's so amazing that and we're going to talk about this in the next article, actually, that they don't even recognize it anymore as what it is, because it's so seamless and amazing. And so and to them, self-driving seems like this really hard, complicated computer thing. And you're like, no, it's yes, but we're so much closer than what you think.
Yeah. And they'll be I know. And it's funny because a lot of the objections I've heard is why would I want a self-driving car if I still have to pay attention? You don't understand. They don't want to sell a car to you that has a steering wheel. They want to make it impossible for you to take over. That's when they're going to start selling you these cars. And at that point, you can sleep or be drunk or be doing work. And the idea of, it's funny because I was talking to my boss about this and how I was honestly, there are places that I would live that are 2-hour commutes. But if I could get into my car at 8 a.m., work on my computer for 2 hours, get to the office at 10, be there till 2 in the afternoon or 3 in the afternoon, jump in my car, get home by 5, and have put in my 8 hours of work and been able to interact with everybody in person, I would do that. But it requires a self-driving car. And I want one.
They're gonna, I get so excited thinking about it. I'll be honest.
Yes, I know.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And I
want to hear what Mossberg had to say, though. He's quitting.
He's
done. He's giving up the ghost.
Yeah. He's not dead. He's retiring. What's the difference?
I know.
We're never going to hear from him again. I mean, is that's kind of an existential question. If you never hear from somebody, are they actually alive?
You really think we'll never hear from Walt Mossberg again? I give it 6 months before he pokes his nose back into these conversations again. He's just too respectful of a voice at this point.
Unfortunately, Walt Moss Puppet, he got way, way too political for me, and so I had to hide him on my Twitter timeline.
Ooh.
So, it was just
which ones?
Follow Walt Moss Puppet on Twitter for hilarious, Mossberg-esque types of over-the-top things. Right?
Yeah.
And he turned it into his own little personal rant tool. I'm like, no, that's not why I followed you.
Yeah.
I followed you to be funny, and this is not funny.
Yeah.
You're just an angry puppet. And but not in a funny way. Again, you could be angry, just be funny about it. You know, like I follow Darth Vader. He's angry and funny. It works.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of
I also follow Lonely Luke. He's just funny.
Yeah. There was what's his name? Dave Chappelle. I was watching an interview and they asked him, you know, are you glad about President Trump because of what he's doing for comedy? And Chappelle responded by he goes, no, it's horrible for comedy. And the woman was really surprised. And he goes, everybody's making the same lazy joke. It actually makes it a lot more difficult. And that's the thing that gets me. It's not that, you know, politics aside, it's the same lazy joke. I just entertain me.
Yes. I am not entertained.
Oh, geez.
So anyways, Mossberg, he wrote a swan song, his final weekly column ever, unless we hear from him again. He started in 1991. Whoa is right. It's not that long ago, but it's a while ago. It was at the Wall Street Journal, whom I cannot read any of their articles anymore. So it's like the Wall Street Journal is dead to me too.
Why can't you read their articles anymore?
Because I'm not willing to pay for their subscription.
Oh, yeah. Oh, everything's got to be free.
Paragraph. When it comes to news, unfortunately for them, their quality of coverage and the stories they cover are not so unique that I'm willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Anyways, his one-liner is that tech was once always in your way. Soon it will almost be invisible. And so he kind of waxes and wanes about how it was. By the way, he started on October 17th, 1991. So close to a great day. My birthday's the 18th. So I was like, oh man.
So that was his birthday present to you, just day before.
Yeah. Let's see, it was published, I guess. Yeah. Anyways, when he started it, one of his quotes was that personal computers are just too hard to use and it's not your fault. That was his first statement that he put out there. And one of his things was to review technology like a normal person. And that did not exist at the time. Which is pretty crazy. So today, if he was to rewrite that column, what he would say is personal technology is usually pretty easy to use. And if it's not your fault. That's fair. So he kind of sits there and says, so where are we now and what's coming? And I think that's right up a Furlo Bros alley there.
Yeah.
And so where are we right now? He would call it the lull. And not the LOLZ, lulls. Like just the lull, LUUL. No, LULL. A lot of similar letters there. Anyways,
the best part was at that tongue twister you gave yourself. We lolled.
That we did. Okay, so he says that we are a tech world bursting with possibility, but very few game-changing products that are actually coming to the market. Like he talks about the multi-touch smartphone. It was launched 10 years ago by Apple. And he's like, it's not done getting better, but it's also not done amazing. It's matured, right? Yeah. And I mean, I fully expect Apple's going to come out with one or two features on their new iPhone where you go, yeah, that'd be nice to have. But not like, wow, this changes everything.
Yeah. If you have a 7S, you'll probably won't need the 8.
I have a 7S, but I will probably get an 8. So there's that too.
Well, you can tell that's like that they recognize that change, which is why they started pushing these programs for the automatic upgrades, because they were afraid that there would be stagnation in the market and that would hurt their business model of selling new hardware.
Yeah. Tablets also rose like a rocket, but they haven't necessarily found an essential place in people's lives, though I use mine multiple times every single day. I love it. Obviously, desktops and laptops, he's like, they literally are part of the furniture.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I would totally agree with that. He talks about big software revolutions, cloud computing, search engines, social networks. It's like solved problems overall.
Fair enough.
Um, yeah, they again continue to get better, of course.
Yeah, you're not done innovating, but they're in those spaces, but they're solve problems.
He talks about consumer drones and robotics. It's like they're still new, but there's also just like too few practical uses still. Where and I mean, and we talk about that all the time. We're like, I would love a drone, and I just like I can't quite justify it. You know, I'm like, right. Oh, I really want to, but it would just because I want to. And I think 360-degree video is in that same category where I'm like, oh, I want it, but that's not. Is that even a new category? Anyways, let's see here. He says the biggest hardware and software rival since the iPad in 2010 has been Amazon's Echo. And he goes, it arrived in 2015, and the Google Home. He goes, but those are also just getting started. And he was saying that like, are they truly different? I don't know. I think the voice computing is kind of a big deal, I guess. But again, it's kind of like it's still not quite there. As for artificial intelligence, the way Jeff Bezos described it was that it's not just the first inning of a long baseball game, but we're at the very first batter in a baseball game. Like I believe that. One of his proof points for the Echo, he says they're growing, but they're still well below 10 million units last year. He goes, for comparison, in a week period, Apple sold 50 million iPhones in just 90 days.
Yeah.
And they sold less than 10 million for 365 days. He's like, it's just, yeah, it's cool, but it's just not there yet. You probably put smartwatches in that same category. You know?
Definitely.
Neat, nice to have, but not life-changing. All right, so he goes, okay, we're in this lull, and I think we all feel that kind of a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like, so what does that mean? He's like, well, what it doesn't mean is that we're done.
Yeah.
Let's shut down the patent office. Let's go home. That's not what he doesn't think that's true. He says it's just it's a pause, really. And he believes that if we move on to that next thing, it will be even bigger. He talks about right now what it really feels like is we're putting together the building blocks. It kind of reminds me of really it's the internet in the 90s, where it's this thing, it's got a ton of potential. No one really understands it, how it's going to work, but there's things being built. And he goes, we do have artificial intelligence / machine learning. We've got this thing called augmented and virtual reality, which Google is now smartly calling immersive computing. Right. And they say those two things are on a spectrum where it's just a question of how much of the virtual world is layered in front of your view.
Which is what Microsoft is. They're trying to change the nomenclature too to, what is it?
I don't remember.
Mixed reality.
Mixed reality, yeah. And it's like virtual reality. It's 100% layered. IRL is 0 layer, and augmented reality is somewhere in the middle. And I get that, and I'm getting on board with that. But again, it's still kind of building blocks are being put in there. Robotics, drones, smart homes, self-driving cars, digital health and wearables. It's like these are all things that they're all just kind of there, but they're not there yet. And he goes, but one of the cool things is that they all have dependencies that are in common. So, for example, a lot of them, they need more distributed computing power. They need new sensors. They need better networks. They need smarter voice and visual recognition. And they need smarter, more intelligent, more secure software. And so he's kind of like, there's this underpinning technology that is being built that eventually all of these, there's a high chance that they all kind of pop at the same time.
Right.
which is kind of an interesting, way to look at it. And then what he says, I think this is interesting. Here's where he says where we're headed. Okay, and he gets to coin a term, I guess. Maybe it's not, but anyways, he says what we're really headed towards is ambient computing. Okay, so lock that one away.
Okay,
because you're going to use that term later in life more than once when you're describing to someone
computing.
Where are we headed. Okay, ambient computing, and essentially that's the idea that we're doing all these things. And eventually the computer is just going to fade into the background, and in some cases even entirely disappear. And so, he's like, they'll be activated by a voice command, or a person entering the room, or a change in your blood chemistry, or a shift in temperature, or emotion, maybe even just a thought. And we're starting to see this with like smart homes. I think that's a great example where your home, your car pulls up and your home just kind of like starts to do stuff, and it's just there. Like I never unlock my door anymore because it just unlocks for me when I pull into the driveway. It's a computer doing something for me, but it's this ambient computing idea. He also hilarious. I highly recommend the article just in general, but he embeds a Saturday Night Live skit from 2005 where it was after Jobs unveiled, I think it was like the iPod Nano or something like that. And so Fred Armisen comes out, and he's Steve Jobs, and he's like, hey, we're releasing a new iPod right now. and they're like, whoa, it's amazing. He's like, yeah, it's the iPod Nano. Like, whoa, that's so cool. He goes, forget about it. That's old news. We're releasing a new one right now. I would like to introduce the iPod Pequeño. And it's like this even smaller thing. And they're like, wow, that's amazing. He goes, forget that. That's old news now. We're releasing a new product that's even better.
I remember this one.
It was amazing. And it gets to the point where it's an iPod, and each time the specs are getting amazing, right? The device gets smaller, but the specs get more amazing. And he's like, it's this last one. I don't even remember what it's called, but it's the iPod, nanometer, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he goes, and it's just like he just had his fingers together, pressed together.
Yeah.
Yeah. It holds every photograph ever taken. Ever. Yeah. It's like so right. And he goes like, that's where we're headed. Believe it or not.
I know.
And he's like, and that's that idea. Just it has all your photos and you don't see it. It's okay. And so and he references how Facebook, they've talked about how they're developing tech that can hear you through your skin, and augmented reality is going to get built into standard eyeglasses, and the rumors of Apple working on the glucose level monitoring in a non-invasive way, and Google being AI first and with Home and Google Assistant, which, by the way, so as you predicted, we're probably going to get a TV this year.
Yes.
And the question has been, do I get a 32-inch that fits in like this made-for TV slot that's kind of, I don't know, belt level, if you will? Or do I go for the 55-inch and put it up on the mantle that's maybe slightly high, but I might be able to mount in such a way where I get a nice little tilt and it looks okay? And this is the debate that we've been having. And interestingly enough, I'm the one who keeps going, I kind of like it down at belt level for when I'm sitting on my super low couches. And it's my wife who goes, why don't you just get the big screen? Which is just like, wow, how did these roles reverse? Anyways, the TV, it's got Chromecast built in, and it syncs with the Google Home. So you can literally talk to your television through the Google Assistant on Google Home, and it will do everything on your TV for you. So I'm like, oh man, maybe the Echo needs to get relegated to the back room. Anyways, but that's cool, right? That's ambient computing. That's the idea. Like, you just tell your computer, turn on Netflix, to Cheers on my TV, and it would do it for you. That's cool. So he expects to see a bunch of this ambient computing within the next in the next 10 years. He goes, and it'll pretty much all disappear within the next 20 is his prediction.
It's funny. That's, honestly, that's part of my argument for why I think
I know
smartwatch
cell phone's
is
dead. Yeah.
You know what? I think that's good enough.
Yeah. No, I sure. I see what you're saying. You get LTE in your watch, and you're backed up by the cloud and all these smart assistants, and
it's ambient. It's the only. I mean, what it almost becomes your biometric. It becomes just And honestly, to that extent, a smartwatch is probably in 5 years, 10 years, as we move further and further down this road, and a smartwatch becomes more and more your primary interface, I'll probably start to have a similar response. I'll be like, "Oh, this is stupid. I should have known better," because you'll be moving more and more towards that place of you don't even need it. You're just looked at all the time and poked and prodded by computers. And
so he finishes with kind of the why it all matters, and he says, when the internet first arrived, it was really this discrete activity you performed on a discrete hunk of metal and plastic called a PC, using a discrete software program called a browser. Right, and he says, and we're moving a lot more to where it's more like an electrical grid, where it just kind of powers things in the background, but you still are using a discrete device like a smartphone, or you maybe you're talking to it on an Echo, but again, it's still a device that's there. And I think Google and Amazon are really quickly trying to say no, embed this inside of other stuff. We don't need a separate device, right? And so we're starting to see it in that direction. And he says, those early computers, they were always in your way. There were these hulking objects that demanded space and skill. But even now, if you look around at a restaurant, what will you see sitting on a bunch of the tables there? It's like these smartphones waiting to be used. And so he thinks, so you can appreciate this, those things are going to go away. They're going to be embedded in objects that are already around us, and you won't have to have a discrete device anymore.
Completely agree.
I knew you would. And so he does say there's obviously a dark side to all of this. Ambient computing, and that has to do with the invasion of privacy and monetizing even more of your life, and government snooping and hacking problems.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. That's kind of his yep. He talks about how we need to have better privacy and security rules passed, better laws, I suppose. Probably not dumb idea. But anyways, he just says ambient technology, it's going to become it has to become like wood joists and steel beams and engine blocks. There are all these things that are a part of our lives, but you don't pay attention to them in and of themselves. They serve kind of a bigger purpose, if you will. Yeah, so let's see, where does he go here? He talks about an oligopoly and how there's some really big ones: Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, and Microsoft. I agree. What else? Then his bottom line is he's had a big ride in the last few decades, and it's been exciting, enriching, and transformative. He believes that the roller coaster will begin accelerating faster than ever in a short amount of time. Just gotta kind of just keep going.
Yeah.
Cool. He said, this is interesting. He says, as a gadget lover, this actually makes him a little sad. But as a tech believer, it's tremendously exciting.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
So
good job, Mossberg.
Yeah,
well written, well thought. You will be missed.
It's too bad you're dead. So the big question to me is where we shouldn't kill people on this show. Mossberg's not dead. Yes. So where are you gonna be?
Sorry.
It was my girlfriend's birthday today, and we were writing the card, and I was like,
Wait, today's your girlfriend's birthday?
No, girlfriend's father's birthday.
Okay, today's my daughter's birthday. That's
Whoa, that's cool.
Interested in that.
No, not that interesting. But we were celebrating it today, and my girlfriend was trying to figure out what to put on the card. I was like, put congratulations on not dying this year. And we were like,
did she do it?
she laughed, and we ended up pulling it. We ended up not doing it at the last minute. But yeah, I know. It's like it's a pretty good one. Yeah. So where are you gonna buy your stuff? That's the real question to me, James. All these gadgets, connected stuff. This ambient computing that Mossberg is talking about. Yeah. Probably not from Leeco. Leeco it was a company nobody had heard about it a year ago, and we were being given articles early this year about how like this company was just gonna wipe out whole swaths of other companies. They agreed to buy Vizio. I mean, this company was like they're a company out of China, and they were just a rocket ship. They were getting into every market, and then all of a sudden, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, the company they announced that they were going to slow their expansion because they were having some cash flow problems. And today, or this week, they fired 325 people in their U.S. offices. The Vizio deal is completely falling apart. The CEO has stepped down. The company, it's just amazing. So you know what it reminds me of?
How does that happen?
You know what? Okay. Did you ever remember playing SimCity? Mm-hmm. And either you're playing SimCity, the latest SimCity, where you could gift money to a new city, or playing like or if you use cheat codes and you'd give yourself a bunch of money to start out with.
That too, yes.
And you would just you'd go in and you'd invest in all of this really great infrastructure and try to design this city that could grow into this enormous money-making city later on. Yeah. And it just...
And you knew you were going to take losses through the hilt.
And it literally never started to work. I don't know if you've ever had cities like that. I think that this is what that was. They had a bunch of money. They've had success in China, and they decided that they were going to come to America, and they were going to do everything. And they just decided that they had enough money to lay the infrastructure to become a titan overnight. And it turned out they didn't. So I'm sure the company's not going to disappear from the face of the earth, but they're not the big name. They're such a big deal for like 6 months. It was just crazy. I just don't do that. Don't do that, guys.
Wow. What? As an investor, that just must be so frustrating.
Yeah.
The CEO must have just been amazing at selling a dream or something.
Yeah, I guess. It's really pretty.
That would be a very interesting case study / podcast.
Right.
To hear how what kind of went down.
I completely agree. And unfortunately, I think you'd have to get some pretty serious investigating going on, because I don't think it would be I don't think there's enough in just the current reporting about what happened. I think you'd have to actually go and interview employees and stuff. But at this point, there's probably, I know, well, it's more work than I want to do. It would be really, it would be fascinating to see how so there have been articles this week of like how to not start a giant tech company, stuff like that. It's just real stumble out of the starting blocks. Seems like it's kind of amazing. But yeah, sorry if you're one of those 325 people. You and Walt Mossberg should go hang out, jobless.
I don't know if that's
it's Yeah, you're gonna make the argument that retirement is somehow different.
No, I'm with you. It's just for different reasons.
Yeah, it's true. Oh man. So there is a company though that's not doing too poorly. So do you have any USB-C devices, James? Obviously, no.
I'm trying to think. What does my Kindle use?
Probably not USB-C.
I don't think so.
When did you get your Kindle?
I don't know. Years ago.
No, it doesn't use USB-C.
USB-C?
Yeah, USB-C got settled on after the Lightning cable came out for Apple.
I can't. What does it look like?
It looks like a flat oval,
USB
kind of.
C images. Okay. No, I don't have anything that does that.
Yeah. So Apple's new Mac Pro has nothing but USB-C.
Lightning is my iPhone, right? It's
right.
Close, but not.
Yeah, they're actually Apple was heavily involved in writing the standards for the USB-C, and there's a lot of the design principles of the Lightning cable are shared with USB-C, like the fact that you can flip it 180 degrees and it'll still work just as well. Well, one of the implementations of the USB-C interface was made by Intel and using their Thunderbolt tech. So Thunderbolt was a really, really, really fast connection cable that had leveraged the FireWire port and was supported by Apple, but nobody else. And now USB-C seems to be finally going down the same road where it's supported by Apple, but nobody else. And Intel decided this week that they are not happy about that. And so this week they made a big announcement that they are going to stop charging royalties for USB-C Thunderbolt. So if you want to build that protocol, if you want to build that, which leads to really fast power charging and super fast data transfer, you'll be able to without having a whole bunch of extra costs. Thunderbolt 3 is one of the most versatile USB-C solutions out there with fast speeds and charging, but Intel's licensing fee also meant it's more expensive to use. By opening up the protocol, Intel hopes to encourage broader adoption in the ecosystem with a lot of different peripherals and other devices. Intel's Thunderbolt development, that's not what I meant. Yeah, and they're also reportedly working on integrating it into their CPUs in the future. That was a big change when USB finally got built into the CPU. One of the big things that allowed them to do was instead of having to have a CD drive or a disk drive to boot Windows, you could do it over USB, which is a big deal. You have to actually have it in. It can't be a discrete chip. It has to be built into the CPU. And so they're going to start doing that, which means every computer that has an Intel chip in it next year or so will be Thunderbolt compatible. Which will
That's
be
a big deal.
Yeah, that's a giant deal. And if you want to make a device that uses that speed and power, like if you're creating a what's it called?
Computer?
Not a computer, but an external hard drive that plugs into one of these computers, you don't have to pay Intel to use that protocol.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is good news because it wasn't happening on its own. Intel gave it a try to make some money off of it, but at this point they're just we'd rather it get adopted than not be used because it's too expensive. And so yeah, big announcement, big change, and we should see things start moving in that direction over the next couple of years, especially.
So we got like kind of this. What it's a Thunderbolt / USB-C war going on. Is that
no?
This isn't the what is it? The Blu-ray versus HD DVD wars.
No. Well.
Okay.
So what happens is the Thunderbolt. So it's USB-C is this like general purpose guideline, and it has a like lowest like viable. It will work at this. Everything in order to be USB-C and to be USB-C standard certified, you have to do this minimum like requirement of communication speed and power levels. But USB-C can do more than that if both ends have the proper technology.
Gotcha.
So
Thunderbolt
right now,
can work over USB-C.
Yeah, Thunderbolt is a type of USB-C.
Oh.
So you could if you make just a standard USB-C thing and plug it into a Thunderbolt, it'll work using just the most basic form of USB-C, which is faster than USB-B
A or B or
and A.
Yeah.
But it's it's
okay. I understand.
And this is the most.
So this is good.
This is very good. This is good news. This is good news because basically what was happening was it can get a little bit confusing. USB-C is the type of plug that you're using. USB 3.0 is the type of protocol you were using. And what a lot of companies were doing is they were making a USB-C plug that used USB 2.0 and USB 3.0. And Intel's like, use Thunderbolt. Because
Thunderbolt's a type of protocol.
Yes. It's similar to USB 3.0, the universal serial bus. It is compatible with USB 3.0.
That's convenient.
But it is a lot faster. So if you have two, in every way. So if you have two Thunderbolt devices, you're golden. But if you're fast. And what they were finding is that, Apple would have Thunderbolt connected devices, would have Thunderbolt built into it, but nothing else would.
Third-party things.
And so nobody was using it. And basically what happens then is Apple goes to Intel and says, well, we're not going to support it anymore, or we're going to support it less.
Yeah.
Intel's like, whoa. And
yeah, we're not going to spend extra money on a special processor if we don't have to.
Right. So Intel is throwing their considerable weight into making sure that a lot of different platforms support this.
Yeah, because that was the thing about the Surface Pro. It didn't have USB-C on
right. And Microsoft made the argument that it's just not a mature enough technology yet. It doesn't make sense. There aren't enough devices out there.
Which is true.
And it'd be interesting to see how much. This is probably a decision they've been working on for a while, trying to figure out the math of that they've been prepared to do. But I'm sure that Microsoft was, Intel was negotiating with Microsoft, trying to get them to incorporate Thunderbolt into it. And Microsoft was saying no. And I'm sure that had something to do with it. But it's gonna be it's nice. It actually simplifies things, but also makes it a lot faster and more powerful. So, I'm
trying to think. Let's see. For my Mac, I guess I plugged in my mic and headset, but everything else is wireless. For my work machine, everything's actually plugged in. Nothing's wireless. How about that?
I got a couple of wires things, a couple of things plugged in. I have too many cables on my desk, that's for sure. That's for dang sure. But
you do a lot of cables on your desk. You're a cable monger.
I know. It's rough. But I got a lot of electronics on my desk, so win some, you lose some, James.
It's true.
But yeah, it's cool. And then, but they weren't the only consumer company to make a big product announcement this week either. DJI changed the world of drones this week.
Did?
Yeah.
Again?
Again.
You don't disrupt yourself. Someone else will disrupt you for you.
Exactly. It's actually pretty. So basically, they announced this week the Spark drone. It's the tiniest drone that they make.
Spark drone.
Yeah.
That's saying something. If
Yeah, it
because the
is.
other one was super small.
Yes, this one is quite small, and it's designed to be dead simple.
Oh, look at that thing.
Costs $499.
How that's got to be like what, 7-8 inches long
Yes, it's
at
tiny.
most. Wow. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
It's got a full HD camera. It still has a 12 megapixel camera. It doesn't have it doesn't do 4K, which means that it won't be it's really not meant to be a professional device. It's meant to be a personal device. Their consumer
Does it still look good though?
Yes. Yeah, it's HD. It's full HD, 1080p.
Okay.
It's good. The drone itself.
I don't upload 4K video to YouTube.
Yeah.
I just do 1080 at
Exactly.
most. 720 a lot.
Right. Well, honestly, most professionals who record in 4K, they don't produce 4K videos. That raw video feed just allows them to do better editing.
Right.
You start with more information and then pick out the information you want and downgrade to whatever level you want. It's a post-processing thing as opposed to a static. Yeah. It's the easiest way to put it. And then, it can do 31 miles per hour. It has a 3D sensing camera. It does GPS.
What does the 3D sensing camera do?
Basically allows it to not run into walls.
Oh, it still has that tech. Obstacle
avoidance. Yeah. It's got an onboard visioning positioning system that keeps the system stable, even indoors when the signal is garbage. While the 2-axis gimbal helps stabilize video while it shoots. So this thing is kind of a beast. The onboard battery is swappable on the fly, which is a big deal for a drone this small. And it's also got a micro USB plug. Not USB-C for some reason. And each battery promises about 16 minutes of flight. But one of the big things about this is they really wanted to focus on the control and making this dead simple so that you don't have to be a professional drone flyer in order to use it. So it does some pretty cool things like taking off from your hand and landing in your hand.
What?
Yeah. So
that's insane.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so you can just put your hand out there, it'll take off. And it also does, it's got machine vision software built into it, so it can do hand tracking. Which means that you can control it with gestures. They haven't really gotten deep into what that means. They've mentioned a small number of gestures that it will support. Very basic stuff like take a picture and follow me. You
just take your hand and just kind of like follow me, like you would
exactly
in the air. Follow me,
something like that.
So awesome if that's the case.
They don't.
This way.
One of the concerns is that it's like. Smiling with your arms folded will trigger the picture taking functionality.
I like it.
Yeah, and
these arms folded selfies.
I know. One of the cool parts about it, I think, is that it. Not one of the cool parts. This is the cool part. I'm sure it's going to be upgradable with more hand gestures as time goes on. It sounds like it's going to be limited at first, that it's going to be, very, very simple functionality. But if you could want to take a selfie from a good distance off and you could just launch it from your hand, send it out, and then take a picture with, wherever you are in the background automatically, put your hand back at it and it'll fly back. That'd be pretty amazing, even if it's just that simple. For more complex maneuvers, there's a smartphone app that can be used to send the drone off in the air in various patterns. And one of the neat parts about this is that there's all sorts of complex flying patterns that they've been developing over the years for their more expensive professional drones. But those are pretty much all software things. So all those functionalities are now in this too. It didn't require any extra hardware or whatever in order to be able to do that. So, yeah, this is a beast of a little toy.
So I've seen flying time 16 minutes.
Yes.
That's not very long.
Oh, dude, it's a tiny little drone.
I know. Well, I guess that just it is made for quick, like you were talking about. I want to just get this shot real quick. Let me put it in my hand, have it take off, take my picture, and then come back. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's the point of it. Quick little stuff. Have multiple batteries. Yeah, $500 though, man. That's a good deal.
Oh yeah, those first-person video goggles.
Yes, because they just announced their first FPV goggles last year, and it works with this, which is good of them. Stay consistent.
Man, that's pretty. That's pretty cool. They're just slowly but surely making it more. Because I'm looking at it going, $500. If I want to, because again, like me, I instantly go like property research, right? That's my whole thing,
right?
And I'm trying to decide, is it worth to get a drone shot of a house or something like that for a listing? Because that would be my main use. And it's like, well, this might actually, is $500 worth it? Maybe.
Definitely.
I'm still go 360 camera first, but
no doubt you need this, man. So how else are they going to know what the roof looks like, James?
I know, right? That's cool though. DJI, man, still kicking butt. The hand gesture thing is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of things becoming more mainstream and prices being lowered, IKEA, they're killing it, man. They're killing it. So they're doing the whole smart light bulb thingamajigger, and they announced it last year.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's their Trotify. Probably just destroyed that.
Probably.
Anyways, low-cost light bulbs that are smart, requires a hub of some sort, and they're gonna add voice control for Google Home, Apple HomeKit, and Alexa devices this summer. How awesome is that? So they're gonna start pushing lights. Oh, excuse me. And apparently they're similar to the Philips Hue. You can change colors and do other cool stuff with them.
So this actually is a good time to bring this up because obviously I just moved into a new place.
Oh, yeah.
And it has nothing but really dumb lights. How
do you feel about that?
Bad. I feel real bad. So I have my Philips Hue light kit that I got years ago, and it came with 3 light bulbs. And since I was living inside of a room, that was more than enough light bulbs for my needs. But one of the biggest problems with it is that it has the older hub, and that older hub doesn't work with HomeKit.
HomeKit
doesn't work with lots of things. It's quite annoying. And I'm like sitting here thinking, oh, I want a new one. Well, to get a Philips Hue hub is expensive. It's like $80.
Yeah.
And to get a starter kit with 3 more bulbs would be like $200. And I don't want to do that.
Why not?
Really? Because it's $200. I don't want to spend it.
How many bulbs are we talking about? Like how many
3
are in your new?
In the starter kit.
No.
In a house?
You need in your house, yeah.
I don't know.
It would make your life convenient.
Well, so this is my thought. What I'm saying is the Philips Hue's big advantage is and has been and continues to be that the fact that they've got the expensive bulbs are multicolor,
right?
And which is cool to like set moonlighting stuff and to do different recording things. They're nice, but they're not like, it's not critical when you just need dimmable white lights most of the time for most of the rooms. And I'm sitting here thinking, and those GE Link bulbs are a lot cheaper than that. They're like $15 each. And you got IKEA coming out with them. So my question here is,
so wait, the GE Link bulbs are just white. They're not the multicolor.
Yeah. They're dimmable and white. So the question becomes, what do I do here? Do I stick with the Philips Hue and basically reinvest in the infrastructure, Or do I wait for IKEA to launch their pricing, or do I just jump into the GE feet first? How do I do this?
These are tough questions.
Or do I act like a caveman and flip the lights on switch?
that's not an option.
I know. Yeah.
Come on, we move forward. Which, by the way, if we pull the trigger on this television, this tells you I'm in a similar thought process right now. The way our living room is set up is I have 2 lights in the back of the living room. Then I have a single light right over the mantle, which I'm guessing is supposed to light up your picture or something. And then, but on the wall, so I have 3 lights essentially in the living room, which if you just turn on those 3 at night, it's dark in the living room in like the middle section. And I have 3 light switches. And one light switch does the 2 lights in the back. Another one does the 1 light in the front. And then the third one, it connects to an outlet. Like the bottom outlet turns, you know what I mean? One of those ones where it turns the outlet on and off. And I'm considering if we get a television, I don't want to have this one light that would be like right over the TV. Like that's dumb. And so what I'm considering doing is actually plugging that one and then, moving it, extending it to 2 lights out on the side, kind of mirroring what's in the back of the living room, and then actually putting 2 more lights in the middle, and then making the outlet just on all the time, and then having that third switch go to the middle. So have 6 lights now instead of the 3, so double it, and then have it like 2 zones essentially. But the other thought that I've had is it would be cool to have the mood lighting in the living room. Like you were kind of talking about. I don't necessarily need it anywhere else, but in a living room would be kind of cool when you're watching movies, especially with some of those apps that can kind of mirror what it is that you're watching.
Yeah.
And so my thought has been like, oh man, I could go the Philips Hue route, especially since I'm going to get the strip on the back of my desk eventually. So I'm going to get a hub. And I'm also going to get a Philips Hue light bulb outside because I have a light socket that has no switch. It's just always on. It literally has like one of those little, like a bulb pull tab that's in the middle and then connected to a light bulb.
That's
like,
funny.
It's weird. So anyway, so I'm going to do it anyways and thinking about this for the living room. So I'm actually thinking about going the other direction and just kind of going to deal with the fact that I'll have light switches that are smart and then just light bulbs that are smart. And I may have to like, hey Siri, turn on the, awesome. Thanks. I knew that was going to happen. Turn on the living room lights and then adjust them from there. I don't know. So let me ask you this. So that's kind of where I'm coming at in my thought, because for this singular room, which is probably gonna end up being a huge project, talking about projects being much bigger than we want. Pretty sure that'll happen. So my question to you would be, do you use the different colors? Did you in your old room very much? Or was that just kind of like, it was nice to know? Like, did you always have it flash for like a yellow and blue for a Warriors game and orange and black for a Giants game? Like, did you ever use that functionality?
So I had 2 different. I had
the morning wake up stuff, but
the morning wake up thing was mission critical, but really the bigger though I did use the lighting thing because I used so I had my recording lamps light, and I had 2 different scenes that I used primarily. I liked this like soft orangey light, sort of like a just an orangier light for most of the time. But but anytime we were recording anything, whether I was doing video recordings or doing the podcast or whatever, I'd switch it over to be a more natural white light, like an outdoor light. And so I had those 2 scenes that I used that I cycled regularly. But I didn't have a lot of other colors. And that's part of the reason why I'm kind of like, if there's an area where I know, I don't need the colors to change. The kitchen, that doesn't need to change all the time. That just needs to be dimmable. That's fine. Whereas my room, it would be nice to have that be to be able to do different lighting stuff so that I'm going to bed, so I'm going to turn down the blue. Or I'm waking up, so I'm going to turn up the blues or whatever. So it's not like I would scrap the Philip Hues, but I don't need those. I don't need the color changing one. That being said, the Hue bulbs have a white. They have a white bulb.
Yeah, they do. So could you get the 3 white bulb kit with the new hub?
It's interesting.
Because maybe that's the way to go. And then, because you want the new hub, right? I mean, that's kind of your...
Yeah, and honestly, the Philips, the simple white ones are only $15.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think they're reasonably priced if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And now, and honestly, with the new bridge that'll work with HomeKit and 2 white bulbs, which would bring me up to 5 bulbs, 3 colored, 2 whites, $70. But they and
then you could sell your old bridge on eBay or something for, get $10 back.
Yeah. Tell them it's the new one, but lie.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That's your plan, dude. Stick with Philips. You already have 3 of the bulbs.
I'm invested in the ecosystem.
You don't want to switch ecosystems, because then what are you gonna do with those bulbs?
Right?
Give them to me.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Lord knows, I'm not gonna do that one.
Flip a switch. I can't even believe you mentioned that as an option. Neanderthal. Seriously, caveman life. That's ridiculous.
I know, it's been rough having to turn
we
my
have
lights
manual
off.
switches in our bathroom because I wasn't quite ready to automate those to the system. It's just I foresee problems in middle school. No, we're gonna keep bathroom controls separate from the rest of the house.
Yeah, that makes sense. It is too prankable.
There you go, dude. Just keep it the Philips Hue. Stick with your ecosystem. Don't change strategies midway through. I'm sticking with my Apple stuff. HomeKit required most of the time. Awesome. Then I deal with it.
Gotcha. So,
man, if I get this TV and it does Google Assistant and I end up getting a Google Home and it works with all my other smart stuff, jeez,
that was the other thing. One of my new roommates and cousin, I'm just jumping cousins. We were chatting last night and he was like, so what do you think about getting like an Amazon Echo or a Google Home? And I was like, you serious? Yeah, we should do that. And then get light bulbs for everything. It's gonna be awesome. I like it. So
ambient.
I know. You know what else is ambient? Air. You know what floats on air? Sergey Brin's new blimp.
Really?
Yeah. So
this guy's crazy.
Yeah, I know. This week it came out that Google co-founder Sergey Brin has a secret airship that will be used for humanitarian missions, but it will also serve as a giant RV in the sky for his friends and family.
What?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it delivers supplies and food on humanitarian missions to remote locations, but also luxurious intercontinental air yacht for his friends and family. No. The dirigible is reportedly going to wind up being the biggest aircraft in the world at 200 meters long. That's twice the length of the flying bum. That's that flying bum, as we've talked about a bunch, and this one's going to be twice as long as that. It'll use helium instead of hydrogen, which I'm not even sure why you would mention that, because that's just like, nobody uses hydrogen ever. It's not legal to use because of the whole Hindenburg thing. And the project supposedly carries a price tag of $100 to $150 million. So
wow,
that's pretty
expensive. Which is not a huge number for him, which is crazy to think about.
Which makes me really jealous. But yeah.
Wow. That's insane. I have an air yacht. I want pictures of this thing.
I know. I'm sure we'll get them, man. Yeah, it's gonna be. Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous of that man.
Some people build rockets, other people build air yachts, I guess. I don't know.
I want, yeah, exactly. I want a, what's it called? I want a blimp. I've always wanted blimps. Freaking blimps are awesome. It makes me.
Yeah, I know.
I want to get into it.
All right. I got one more.
All right, go for it.
And it's just the continuing saga of Waymo versus Uber. And I like following it because Uber's just getting crushed left and right.
Yeah.
It's like watching the game go against AlphaGo, where you're just like, the game's not over, but it's pretty clear who the winner is at this point.
Yeah.
And it's just like you can read the judges getting more and more frustrated with Uber, because there's like, no, we're not going to share that. No, we're not going to share that. No, we're not going to share that. And the judge just being like, seriously? Like, no, I am now requiring you to share this. It's no longer optional. So like this latest one is they apparently Uber redacted a whole bunch of information about their acquisition about their acquisition of Otto. And the judge was like, give me an unredacted term sheet. I want to see all your due diligence. And actually said, I don't see any basis whatsoever for those redactions to be made and for that information to be withheld from Waymo, unless you have something to hide.
Right.
Essentially. And yeah, just crazy that Uber's like, oh no, we're not going to show you that. And part of the reason why they're being required to share that is because Anthony Lewandowski has decided he's taking the fifth. He's not going to share anything, which they told him he's not allowed to, but he's still not talking. And so he's like, well, give us this information as well. And then he did eventually, Anthony shared like some email information stuff, but the judge was like, what is this garbage? Like,
yeah,
you shared all these logs, and they're unidentified. They're just loose email attachments. Things are blank. He's like, there's just spreadsheet pages. Like, what? No. They're just like, they're trying to just like obscure everything. And you could just tell this, they're going to tick off the judge and they're going to go, you're wrong. You lose. I mean, I don't know. It's so crazy to watch what's happening.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's I think the judge is right. I mean, it seems pretty clear at this point that there was some pretty serious wrongdoing. That they're
acting like they have something to hide. That's for sure.
The sweet deal that closed the deal for them is that Anthony Lewandowski was a former Google engineer with all the experience and everything that he had, and he clearly communicated to them that he could replicate what Google was doing. He could fast track there and get them up to speed. I mean, and how explicit that was and what proof he gave of that, and that's what that's why they want the unredacted parts, because they think that it might explicitly say that, look, I've got all of these files that we can use. I've got all this information about how Google is doing what they're doing, so we can catch up to them in the blink of an eye. And that would be a huge problem for Uber if that happened.
Yeah.
But I think more likely is it's not that explicit, but it's heavily implied, and it's enough where it's going to cause a headache. And so they're just trying to, resist as much as possible for as long as possible and see what they can get away with, which is kind of their MO. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a company They're spinning. The craziest part too is that they're Pittsburgh is where they centered all their self-driving car stuff is just really upset with them right now because they made all these promises about hiring people from the neighborhoods and helping increasing the business in Pittsburgh, and there's just none of that's going on. And they're complaining about the fact that there are these really well-educated, highly qualified people who Uber's not looking at to hire. And they're bringing people in from other places.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Yo, what the heck, Uber?" But it's just one of those things where it's like, this is Uber. This is what they do. They cheat and they lie and that's becoming more and more clear. And they're gonna stop getting the benefit of the doubt here pretty quickly, and things are falling apart.
Yeah, they really are. It's insane. Just the latest symptom. But anyways, just want to keep you up to date on what's going down with that because I find it unbelievably satisfactory. There we go. To watch them crash. You were all about BlackBerry. I'm all about Uber. Fun times. All right, everybody. That's the show. That's what we got for you. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for listening to episode 296. Don't forget, you can check out all the show notes and all the links at furlobros.com. Again, episode 296, just /296. It's easy. If you'd like to get the show notes sent directly to you, you can do that too by signing up on that very same page. And finally, this podcast is supported by listeners just like you. Thank you to all of our supporters. If you'd also like to become one, we got different ways you can do it. Check out the website. Alrighty. My name is James Furlo. My blazing fast internet surfing brother this Memorial Day weekend is Matthew Furlo, and we will talk next time.